Prepping for things that you will eat. Let's discuss. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano. No Frank today, as he is in the wash, getting cleaned. We are using the Titanic mug today. Titanic. The sinking ship. Kind of like the sinking feeling that everyone is having with all these high prices and little ways to save these days. However, today's discussion is going to be prepping on things that you need and things that you know you're going to eat in the future. Now, we've gotten a couple comments over the last few days, and it kind of reminded me that, oh yeah, I better mention this. If you're going to stock up on things for the future, we're all stocking many different ways. There's many ways of saving money, and that's really part of what it's about, but it's also about making sure that you have the things you need. As we have items that are disappearing, seems to be almost on a daily basis, we need to make sure that we are stocking up on the things that we like. What do I mean by that? Well, if you don't eat rice, and you don't like rice, then maybe you shouldn't be buying up a bunch of rice, right? Now, I'm not encouraging people to not buy rice, but the thing is that if you're never going to eat it, then it's a waste of money. Right, and a couple new viewers and some, longtime viewers of ours have mentioned this in some of the comments, so I thought I would address that today in tonight's coffee rant. First, if you need to get your coffee together or whatever beverage you deem necessary, go ahead and do that now, because this is going to be a lengthy discussion. I've got a lot to talk about tonight. I am drinking, what am I drinking? Joffrey's coffee, wow. I'm forgetting things in my old age. Older age. Anyway, I have a lot of different ways to look at this. Now we have, everybody's different. Everybody's different. I get comments all the time. Dan, why do you show those microwave meals are so bad for you? Why do you show candy? Why do you show chips and all that stuff? I show things that people want to see. I should, everybody likes a bag of chips every now and then. People like their peanuts. Well, I guess you can't really compare both those, but I point out the sales of where they are, and I try to do comparisons of what people ask about on the channel. I read through most or all comments, and I try to make sure that we're always pointing out things that everybody likes. Okay? So, if we're talking about, there could be a couple things that we're talking about in preparing for the future. Making sure, one, that you are saving money in the process, but also buying up the things that you're going to eat in the future to save money. Now, you could think, well, there are different kinds of preppers and different kinds of people who stock up on things in many different ways. However, your way to choose how you do you, right? How you do your life, how you live your life, right? It could be different from the next person. There's things you can do, I know a longtime viewer on here that has a deep freezer just for microwave meals, right? So when they have them on sale, 5 for $10, you load up on them, right? If that's what you like, there's nothing wrong. No judgment here. I get judged every day. It doesn't bother me. I'm still going to do whatever I want to do no matter what, right? But I wanted to just talk about this a little bit because I think things get misunderstood when it comes to prepping in many different ways, right? We have a lot of people that are extreme at it. And when I say extreme, I mean that in a good way. There are people that are constantly thinking about their future and canning their own goods. You could look at this from a health perspective too, right? If you're canning your own goods, you're canning your own soups, vegetables, stuff like that. That's a healthy way to think about things. That's a healthy way to live, right? And a smart way to live, and probably the best way to stretch the most out of your dollar, right? Because the dollar is failing. I also get a lot of comments how these prices aren't going up. The dollar is falling in the tank. Well, yeah, the dollar is falling in the tank, but it's a mixture of both, which kind of the double whammy that makes it even harder to be able to, or it also makes it in a way to where we realize what we have to do. And when, a lot of our videos talk about us stocking up on things. I know we don't show a lot of stuff. I tried to show a lot of the stuff that we bought at Sam's Club the other day. But at the same time, I don't, just because we buy something, I'm not saying that you have to buy it. buy what you're going to eat. We talk about a lot of other things, different canned goods, stuff like that. I always think it's good to stock up on canned goods because it's something that you're going to always be able to put. It's got a long-term shelf life. You know that if it all hits the fan, you've got some meals, and it may not be a bad idea. Even if you're not a big fan of rice, it is something that is filling. It's something that can really stretch the dollar, right? Something where you can, put it away, save it for a rainy day. Either way you want to look at it, it's not a bad idea to put some things aside. And this isn't just with food either. Batteries, light bulbs, clothes, different things. I feel like I go to the extreme sometimes on things. I do, right? Like I have a change of clothes in the car. I have a couple blankets, just in case me and Jess are ever on the road or something and break down. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But, it's just how I think. I have tools. I have a car that is like almost 2 years old that I still keep my tools in my car, right? I have, roadside service included with my car. I still keep my tools in the car so that I know that I'm prepared if it's something that is a quick fix, something that I can do. It's another thing too, I think that comes with prepping. Is not just prepping your pantry or prepping your home or your homestead. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of, if I prepare for this now, then I may be a little bit more ready when something happens. I've always been over prepared in pretty much everything I do. Now I try to do things like when I go camping, I try to take as less as possible. Why do I do this? Well, I like honing in on my skills some. Like how hard is it to start a fire? Well, think of it like this. Newspapers are pretty, scarce these days, but I always keep some newspaper, some junk mail or something so that I can start a fire, going camping or something. Different things. I know there's so many different ideas that people have, and that's what I love about our community on the channel here is that so many people come up with so many different things. Like somebody mentioned one time a toilet paper roll and saving lint, right? Lint from your like clothes and stuff. And then to start a fire, stuff the toilet paper roll with lint. That's a genius idea, and I do plan on doing that at some point here, if it ever stops raining, and we go camping. Maybe do a video of us camping. That'd be a lot of fun. I need to go fishing. I love fishing. All of our special skills, guys. If everything really, if it all did hit the fan someday, we do need to make sure that we can hone in on our special skills. Everybody knows something. Everybody knows how to do something. It's a good idea. I have like campfire books, cooking with fire books, different things. I have grill grates that I have saved over the years. You could call me a pack rat, or different things like that. But you know what? These things come in good use. Buddy calls me up. Dan, can we borrow one of your grates? We're going camping. Sure, I'll go camping with you. Let me get some steaks out of the freezer. But, I guess, I'm just kind of really responding to a lot of the comments that we've gotten over the last few days. We got a huge response from our prepping video and a lot of the problems with prepping that we discuss in that video, which I will leave at the end of this video. You can click on that video and check that out. It's pretty interesting. We go over a lot of different things of, with prices going up, if we're going to stock up, if we're going to can our own goods, should we do quality? Should we do best price? Should we do this? We got a lot of mixed reviews on that. I feel like quality won maybe 75-25. We don't can our own goods, but someday I'd like to. And I would probably go quality. I would go quality over quantity. And at that, I would just make sure that I'm saving a little bit extra money to make sure that we're getting good quality. And this is where Sam's Club or Costco could be your best friend, because both Sam's Club and Costco have great quality meats. And I think that would be the first way I go if I was canning some of these products. If I was canning meats, I would be getting a lot of this from Sam's, Costco, through friends who either want to go in on like a whole cow or a whole pig or something like this, that's one way you can ultimately save. But even if you're not saving as much or as much as you might think, you know where you're getting it from. You know it's as fresh as possible, right? And that's an important thing, at least for me. I know where it's coming from. I know where it's coming from. I know a couple people in northern Kentucky who raise cattle and pigs and hogs, so that would prove quite useful. Sometimes we go through these people. I've never discussed any of this on the channel here either. But I think these are things that we're going to have to look at in the future, because these prices at the grocery stores, we all know that they're just getting insanely ridiculous. They are. They are. But again, I bring it back a little bit. Okay. There's a lot of people who just either don't want to cook, don't know how to cook. But see, this is the way I would think. Okay. Let's dive into the mind of Dano here. So if I was the same way and I was buying nothing but microwave meals and just, and there's good meals that you can get these days. You might pay a little bit more, but arguably better quality. There's a lot of organic options. There's a lot of healthier options that you can do, different ways that they're doing meals where you don't have to open up the plastic. Therefore, the microwaves aren't killing all the nutrients in it. I always thought that was a genius idea with the way that and most of them are like that these days, unless you get really cheap, unless you're buying like Banquet or something. I don't know. I haven't bought a Banquet meal and I don't know how long, but you know how you used to have to lift the corner and all that stuff. A lot of these you don't have to do that. And the reason why they've created these things is so that it's a better seller for them. For one, you're not killing all the nutrients in a lot of the vegetables that are in there. You're still killing some, but it's not as bad as it used to be, which I think is good. So just to talk about that for a second. So if this is you, and I know, like I said, we have a longtime viewer that has a deep freezer that is dedicated just to these type of meals. I mean, in a way, that's pretty awesome. The only thing I would say is that it might be a good idea, and I think for any homeowner, this is a good idea, maybe to invest in like a home generator. Because if the power goes out, for whatever reason, you'll have that generator to keep your fridge running, because you don't want to waste all that money or you don't want to waste those meals, right? You don't want to waste those meals at all. I mean, if something happens, I've done things where, like, over the years, like if my fridge goes out or something, or if the power goes out for an extensive amount of time. I know, like 10 years ago, we had a serious, there was like crazy winds here. It was actually from problems that they had in Florida. It was a hurricane that had just ripped through the entire country, really. The winds, at least. I mean, we had 70, 80 mile an hour winds that were consistent that took a lot of our power lines down. And our power was out for a week. So luckily I have, again, and this was, 10 years ago when I wasn't as adamant about it as I am now. I had coolers. I raced to the stores. Like, they were basically giving away ice, because it was just going to melt anyway. There were stores all around us that some of them had Kroger had generators, right? So you could get ice there, but it's like that's where everybody was going, right? So it was getting wiped out pretty quick. So I knew it was like, I'm going to hit up United Dairy Farmers. I'm going to spend an extra $1 on it. Well, actually, it was a lot cheaper then, or spend an extra quarter, whatever, 50 cents. And I got a bunch of bags, filled up my coolers. That lasted for a while. Another thing, too, if you run out of power, just to keep this in mind, okay, try not to open your fridge or your freezer, because it will actually stay cold in there for a good amount of time after the power turns off. However, I knew after about 10 to 12 hours, I was like, I got to start getting some stuff out of there. But because I didn't have a stove, I didn't have all this other stuff, I had my little grill. Didn't have any charcoal, and surprisingly, I go to the store and all the charcoal's bought up, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Oh, I know, I'll go in the woods and get a bunch of wood. I had a hatchet, right? So I'm chopping this wood down, filled up my little grill, my little Weber that was probably $10. That's probably $50 now today. It's unbelievable how expensive Weber's gotten. It's like you're just paying for the name. It's like the Nike of grills anymore, charcoal grills. I guess it's demand. I guess everybody wants one now. So I saw one the other day that was maybe a little tiny bit bigger than the one I used to have, but it was $50. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Anyway, So I filled it up with wood, and I got a bunch more. I was ready. I was cooking for the neighbors too, because they didn't know what to do. I was like, "Here, what do you got in the fridge? Cook it up." One of our neighbors cooked up some salmon or some cod that he had frozen that was thawed. I said, "Well, you better cook it quick now then." So that's also how I got some good cod for lunch. But anyway, I had some microwave meals that were in the freezer that I had waited till the absolute, like, this was the next day. They were still kind of frozen, but it was like, I gotta start eating these. So and I was in an apartment, so I wasn't in a house. So I didn't have much of a choice. I didn't have a deep freezer or anything like that. So I took the microwave meals and I took this plate thing, right, that I had it's like a heat plate that I set on top of the grill, on top of the grate, had like a little cover. I was doing all kinds of things, right? And then I put the cover on it because with kind of the way those meals kind of have to warm up from all sides for them to taste right. If you don't, if you just put it on the grill, you're going to burn the heck out of the bottom, and it's going to take a while for the top. So you got to kind of put something over it to kind of keep the heat in. Okay. But that's how I was cooking the microwave meals. It was like my over preparedness had saved me for that week of no electricity. So, and this is why I say if you're going to stock up on these things, microwave meals, think frozen items, and if you live in a home, even if you live in an apartment, you can always get a small deep freezer, or a small generator, right? But if you live in a house, when me and Jessica get a house here at some point, you better believe I'm going to have a generator. I definitely that will be part of the expense. I will have a good generator. There are some good ones. And another good reason to, Costco has them. Costco has them. You can probably find some better deals. I don't know. Some people, I pointed them out one time at Costco, and some people were saying you can find better deals than that. But I kind of felt like they were pretty fair priced. One of them on sale was pretty good. I know. I think it's Genetec or Generic, generic. No, it begins with a G. It's one that a lot of our viewers use. But that's something to think about. When you are stocking up on things, and if you are stocking up like we do, it's a good idea to think about these things because of our situation, because we don't have a lot of space, because we don't have deep freezer anymore. We do buy up a lot of things that don't require to be frozen, and I do think that as long as it's things you like, as long as it's things that you're going to rotate out, you don't want to buy something, let it sit there for years and never use it, or just be like, well, I'm just going to save this for an emergency. Chances are you're never going to eat it, and you wasted the money on that. Make sure it's stuff that you're going to... We buy things that we cycle out, right? Like canned goods. We cycle things out like a store would do, like a store is supposed to do. Okay? With the dates and everything, all the latest dates pulled forward, all the newest dates, or you know what I mean, the newest cans are in the back. We constantly rotate those out. Different things. Same with pasta. Same with a lot of our other things. Some things that we have like in sealed containers. Things that we put dates on those. Make sure that we're always bringing these things forward. A lot of people have been eating out of their pantries lately, mostly because prices have gotten so ridiculous, and that's what a lot of our viewers have been concerned with: is running out of food, or running out of your pantry and then having to restock with today's prices. We've had a couple longtime viewers that just mentioned that in the comments. Yeah, I know. It's crazy with how expensive. You're going to notice it too. You're going to notice it in your bill. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And I guess I am fortunate to be able to go into these stores all the time, not only show all the different deals and things and ways to save money. I am constantly buying things as I go along that makes it easier as I go along, because, we're refilling things to each store that I go to. Every day there's a little bit of a plan that I'm going to go to this store and I know what we buy here. So if we need it, like I said, we're limited on areas, even though we find new nooks and crannies. I know one of our longtime viewers had mentioned, well, you can find a spot behind your door. Yeah, we've already done that. we're pretty much, we're ready. We're ready for whatever. We're as ready as we can be, and that's all we can really do. But it's good to think of these other things too, other than food. I know we always talk about food on the channel because everybody has to eat. Everybody has to eat, but you want to make sure that you're eating the things that you like, because otherwise it's just going to sit there, right? Unless you're trying something for the first time. If you buy something, try it first before you lock it up and throw away the key. Try it, because if you hate it, you're never going to eat it, and eventually you're going to have to get around to it. But excuse me, let's have another sip of this coffee here. A lot of people have been talking about stocking up on coffee lately. It's not a bad idea. We're seeing less and less sales on coffee. To me, that's kind of the same as prices going up, because we wait around for these things to come on sale, right? And then when they do come on sale, the sale price is higher than it's ever been on most things. So sometimes we'll find that deal. Like, I saw Starbucks for $5.99 on a digital coupon. It said $6.99. If you saw that video, yeah, the sign said $6.99. This is another thing here. That's why I always talk about, like, if you're shopping at Kroger or anywhere that involves any kind of digital coupons, do this at home before you go, because stores make mistakes. There'll be things in the stores that are mistakes, different coupons that are wrong, different stickers that are wrong. When you do this online in the comfort of your own home, you can listen to some music in the background. This is what I do. Listen to some music in the background, maybe edit a video as I'm going along while I'm searching for different items at Kroger. That I do that a lot. Usually, because I usually go to Kroger at the start of the sales week on Wednesday. Well, Tuesday, when I'm editing a video, most of the time, I'll be editing a video while I'm on my laptop right here, clicking all the sales that I'm going to get for tomorrow, for Wednesday. So when I'm doing the video at Kroger, me shopping all the different things that I'm getting, well, then I already know what it is. That's why I was so confused with the Starbucks thing. It was like, well, that's $5.99. I did end up getting one of them, mostly because I wanted to be able to make sure it was $5.99. If it was $6.99, I was going to tell them to put it back, or unless they gave it to me for $5.99. That was mostly for science. No, it was just really to prove a point. Because if you're going to get Starbucks or Dunkin' or a lot of name brands, I mean, Sam's or Costco's the way to go. It's kind of weird with Costco. Somebody mentioned this the other day, and I noticed this the last time I went to Costco. A lot of their coffee, so I guess this might be the same. I don't know if it's the same at all Costco. I don't like it. I don't like the way they do it. They'll have a bunch of coffee in one aisle, and then there's a ton more. I didn't even know they sold Dunkin'. Like different, okay, so like the Keurig pods and all those are in one area, and then all the ground is in one area. But the pods, like, I didn't even know they sold those. Like, they're all the way, like, they're almost directly across, but it's all the way on the other side of the store, where, like, all the other stuff, like generators, like right next to the generators that we were just talking about. That's where all the other coffee is. That's real weird why they do that. I don't know. Or is that genius to get you to go from one side of the store to look at all the different clothes in between, the generators, the beds, the TVs? Maybe that's smarter than I thought. Anyway, guys, just make sure you're stocking up on the things that you know you're going to eat. I thought that was really important. One of our a new viewer and a couple of our longtime viewers had mentioned that. I was like, we need to discuss that, because as much as we talk about stocking up on things and shortages of things, if you're going to be the first in line of the day to try and find that rice that's disappearing out on the West Coast, right? Then, you want to make sure that you like the rice, right? Because if you're never going to eat it, then it's pointless to buy it. There's a lot of people who rely on, and maybe that's a bad example, but there's a lot of people who rely on rice for their diets, right? Different diets that are. You use a lot of rice. So for you, yes, it's a good idea. It's a good idea when you find a good deal on it, stock up on it. Make sure you're, a lot of these things too, you want to make sure that you're packing it away correctly. If you're storing it for a long period of time, might not be a bad idea to get some Mylar bags, right? Some good seal, good seal, and then maybe like a bucket, seal a bucket, depending on how long you plan on leaving it sit there. But if you're buying in bulk, you may want to consider that doing that anyway. And a lot of people talk about like when you stock up on flour too. Some people say, if you freeze flour, because flour sits over time, you can develop those little weevil things and stuff. You don't want to have that. Well, it's extra protein, I guess. Uh, somebody said that. But I do believe you can freeze it. And that is one way. If you're out of freezer space like us, though, it's kind of hard. It's we stock up for as much as we can on these different things when we find deals. We use red or gold medal. Gold medal. I mean, we've always used gold medal. I'll pay a little bit extra for it. I have used store brands before, and I just feel like it's just not as good. Gold medal's kind of that medium price range. But we stocked up on it when it was on sale during the holidays. So, well, guys, thank you so much for listening to our coffee rant tonight. Make sure you are stocking up on the items that you're going to eat, that your family's going to eat. Maybe some stuff that even your friends to share, to barter with, right? Not so bad to stock up on some extra coffee as we continue to see prices go up. I will continue to show the sales and try to bring the best prices to you as we are doing the same exact thing because, we keep seeing things go up at the grocery stores. We have to save any way we can these days. And if you want to see our video on some of the prepper problems that we've been seeing, click on this video. Have a great night.